how you say, take the current set of XML nodes that you're dealing with and go process them. What we're going to say now is we're going to have a choose statement. And so if the other props attribute contains the string sort, we're going to do two things. We're going to put out a message that says we're sorting, and we're also going to call apply templates, but this time we're actually going to add the sort switch to it. And otherwise, if we don't find other props, we're just going to do what the template did in the first place, which is just invoke apply templates. So let's save that, double check. We've made our change to our tools.xml file, so everything should be good to go. So let's run the toolkit. And so what we'll see, oh, and by the way, our previous message, I didn't point out the output, our previous message about creating a header was appearing in our output, and I will point out where the sorting message appears in this output. So if you notice here in our output, we actually see using override header. And that's occurring because of our message when we were generating that override header. But if you notice here, when we handle tools.html, or when we output tools.html, our message comes out in our output, and we see the word sorting. So let's now go visit that our output HTML file, and let's reload it. And so you notice, voila, the items in this list are now sorted. So, all right. So let me see. What are we talking about here now? Let me just talk a little bit through the specialization stuff. There's stuff on specialization and doing the showing an example of the specialization in the white paper. I'm feeling pressed that we're running out of time here, unless everyone shouts and says, no, 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 don't stop, we're really enjoying this. But let's talk a little bit about hacking and specialization. So specialization in DITA allows us to extend oh, thank you, Abram. Okay, well, you asked for it. Specialization is a wonderful thing in DITA because it allows us to add additional capabilities to our files. It allows us to do things like create new elements to make our markup more apparent to our content creators. We can get very specialized. Hate to double use the word. It allows us to focus our element names specifically on the job that or the document that we're creating. And another advantage of specialization is you can take advantage of everything that's there. In many, many ways, it's just like object-oriented programming. In an object-oriented programming, you don't create everything that's come before you from scratch. You take advantage of all the classes and everything that are there already. So if you want to modify a GUI and make a small tweak to the GUI, you don't have to recreate the GUI. You use all the GUI tools that are there already, and you just modify the small piece of code that you need to do. In specialization, in the DITA Open Toolkit, it's just the same. You just need to make a small change to what it is you want to do. So when we talk about specialization, we're going to go in and modify our DTDs. Now, actually, in the DITA Open Toolkit, the DTDs are an organizing file. The actual information that you want to modify is in a file called a mod file, or .mod. Now, the hack is to go in and modify the existing DTD files and just do that straight. The elegant solution, and the elegant solution, by the way, for our sorting example, is to create a plugin. And that way you can put your XSL, you can put your modified DTD files in that plugin and make them generally available for all who use it. It's very easy to use plugins. You simply add the plugin to your version of the Open Toolkit, and it's there and it works. Now, in our case, let me talk a little bit more about specialization and levels. typically when you hear about specialization at first in the DITA Open Toolkit, you really hear about topic level specialization. People talk about, well, there's the generic topic, and topic is specialized into concept, task, and reference, and any of those topics can be specialized. Well, yes, you can do topic level specialization, but also for hacking and basic modification, you can just go in and make slight tweaks to the existing structure. So you can add new elements, you can change the name of elements if you want, you can do a number of things. The one caveat, or at least if you want to get the behavior where anything that you create is actually handled by structures above it, so if you want to have something handled by the topics from which you inherit, you have to follow one simple rule, and that is when you're specializing, you can't add to a content model anything that is not in any of the previous content models or any of the content models that it inherits from. So, for example, if you go to topic, or in the topic, in the generic topic specialization, there is a UL, and UL contains LI. Now, if you look at the content model for a UL, it just says this UL contains one or more LI elements. If you were to specialize topic, you could not go in and modify the UL and say, oh, a UL includes a P or an LI, any number, because that would be adding something that wasn't in the original definition. That P was not in the original definition. What you could do is you could create yourself a new element which inherits from LI, and then name it and have it do whatever you want. That way you're still valid with all structures above you. So, slight diatribe, slight diversion, but it's an important thing to know. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding a new iList or ingredient list element to Prereq. Now, Sarah railed the other week on the blog about recipes. Well, this isn't really a recipe, sort of. This is a garage recipe that I'm going to be showing you, so it doesn't quite count. So we have an ingredient list, and we want to add that to the Prereq element. Now, Prereq, the content model, is defined as text data, a variety of inline elements, and a series of block elements, including ULs. And so, as I said, we don't want to add a new element. What we want to do is specialize what's existing in this element already. And so what we're going to do is we're going to specialize UL. So iList will specialize UL, and we're going to define iList to contain one or more ingredient items. And then, for simplicity's sake, ingredient is going to specialize LI. This way, the sanctity of the original content model is preserved. So again, we have to go out and use our search engine. I'm just going to take you directly to where we are. What we need to do is search the DTD folder and find out where is Prereq defined. It turns out Prereq is defined in the file called task.mod. So let's go take a look at that file. Here's DTD, here's task.dtd and task.mod. So you want to get the mod file, not the DTD file. We're going to open that in our editor. Now, within the DTD, there are three areas that we need to modify. In the first place, in the DTD, the first area of this mod file, the first area of the mod file contains a series of entities. And these entities are used subsequently in this mod file to refer to these things. So what we want to do is we need to add an entity for the iList and our iItem. Secondly, here we actually define the content models. So what we're going to need to do is modify the content model for Prereq, and then we need to add our own content model for our iList. And finally, these are the class attributes. This is where the inheritance is defined. So we need to come down here. The last thing we'll do is we'll come down here and we'll add our own class attributes for our iList and iItem elements, so that way we can specify what their inheritance is.